Bees! Welcome back to Be or Not to Be with Michelle and Austin. This is our first podcast for the month of October, and boy, do we have a treat for you guys.
Ooh.
For the month of October, we will be doing our Tea with Honey time, our version of movie reviews, every week on Halloween movies that we grew up on. We will be asking ourselves 3 questions. Was it a good Halloween movie? Does the movie hold up in today's Halloween culture? Do we still like it? If not, why? And so I guess that's it. B, what movie are we doing today?
Well, if you grew up on the Disney Channel, which I'm sure...
Which I think a lot of us did. Like, before it got, lame.
Yeah.
Before it got bad, like, I think every kid was on Disney Channel.
Yeah, the DComs were they were everything. Disney Channel original movies. They were probably the best. And I think the thing that kids looked forward to the most was the Halloween specials.
Yeah, especially like holiday specials, but even more so, I feel like Halloween was a big one.
Yeah, I remember I used to grow up watching Halloween movies all the time.
Because they totally put you in the mood, all the Disney commercial aspects. It had a Halloween aspect, whether it was a witch's hat or it was a black cat, but it always got into the holiday spirit.
Yeah, it's weird too because I always felt more in the Halloween spirit than I did in the Christmas spirit when I watched Disney Channel original movies.
Interesting.
Yeah, I always remember Halloween movies, but I don't remember any of the Christmas movies.
Wow.
So
that's pretty interesting because usually Christmas is a big holiday spirit. So that's interesting.
I remember a lot of. Anyways, we'll get onto that later. So we're watching Halloweentown this week.
Okay, so I'll be honest. Prior to watching it for this podcast, I never watched it.
That's surprising. I remember they used to play that every week. I think I would almost like to say every weekday. Especially when the new Halloweentown movies came out. It was every year for a certain amount of times. I think there's 4 in total. So every single day they play a marathon continuously on a loop.
I bet you especially on the weekend. Because the thing is, I remember it being on Disney Channel.
Mm-hmm.
I just never watched it. And I don't know why. I was all about the DComs. I was all about Disney Channel. So I'm also surprised that I didn't watch it. I don't know why I didn't, but at least I'll be watching it for the first time as a 23-year-old young woman.
Oh, yeah. I can't speak for her. I've watched it how many times already.
This is a, cult classic for you?
Oh, yeah. It's pretty much at one point I could probably have verbatimly spoken every single scripted word in the movie. So we're gonna go through a brief summary and then we'll go straight into the movie.
Okay, B, let's get into it.
So for those of you who don't know, Halloweentown follows Marnie Piper, a 13-year-old soon-to-be witch, and her siblings as they learn about their family's magical secret and the place that they came from.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty good summary.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get into it a lot more from here on out. So just a disclaimer that there will be spoilers in this podcast. So if you haven't watched it or do not want to know what happens, then please buzz away and come back after you watched it.
Yep. So without further ado, let's get started.
Okay, so as the first time watching it as an adult, it was a little cringeworthy. and I mean it in just the graphics were old, and this came out in 1998, so I have to give it some credit.
Yeah.
The design and the decorations really put you in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
With grandma being wearing her cloak, and everyone in Halloweentown they're if they were a goblin or a troll or whatever, they really got into character, and they looked like it, but it was in a funny and cute way.
Yeah. You can't really get that graphic when you're talking about it's a kid's movie.
DCOM.
So the most scary thing you could probably get away with is maybe stitches, one stitch across the face. That's all you can do.
Right.
But for the fact that it was a 1998 movie, it was pretty lit for the graphics. So
yeah, and it really put you in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the opening scene itself, where it opens onto the streets of a cul-de-sac, a neighborhood,
mm-hmm.
and you see all these kids dressed up as ghosts or pumpkins, it felt very 90s or even thousands to me.
Yeah, like it's definitely one of those nostalgic feels. Like
Yeah.
it's a suburban like white picket fence community.
Yeah.
It opens up with like a nice like little camera. Like it looks like basically like walking through the streets with all the kids and whatever. It's very cool.
And
But
in a way, like it felt very like 90s or thousands, but you can still see that culture. I mean, you can't go wrong with dressing up and going trick or treating around your neighborhood, but it's definitely looks a lot different
yeah.
now.
Anyways, so the movie starts off as like what we said in the suburban neighborhood, and we get introduced to the first two siblings of the movie, which are Sophie and Dylan.
Mark. Oh,
Dylan? Mark. The brother.
the brother.
So at the window, we see Sophie first introduce herself as a soon to be witch because she says like someone's coming, so she can feel someone coming without knowing them coming.
Mm-hmm.
So Sophie's the youngest sister, Dylan is the younger brother, and then you have Marnie gets introduced as a character who's a 13-year-old witch, or 13-year-old. She just turned 13, I think. And
Yeah, she's on the cusp. No, she turned 13.
Yeah, she
That's
just
right.
turned 13 because this will be the Halloween of her 13th year.
Yes.
So her friends want her to go Halloween trick-or-treating with them, but her mom refuses to let any of them.
Flat out refuses. Like, she's like, thank you for trying, girls, but she's staying home.
Yeah, like
She's very
refuses.
adamant.
I mean, I think like as a teenager, as a new teenager as myself would be, like I'd probably be kind of like mixed emotions about that because at like a certain point, if you haven't been trick-or-treating for your entire life, like would you really want to do it on your 13-year-old birthday? Like I stopped trick-or-treating when I was like what, 10?
What?
I think so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was like kind of sheltered.
I was trick-or-treating all the way till like 17.
Okay, but like if your parents forbid you to do it, would you still want to do it?
I mean, kind of. Like, it's fun getting free candy, dressing up, and walking around the neighborhood with friends. Like, it was fun.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm just weird then. But anyways, she's upset, as you would be as a teenager who wants to go out on Halloween. She can't go trick-or-treating, but she's obsessed with monsters.
Obsessed with anything
Scary.
Like, yeah, creepy. Like, not like Halloween spooky or creepy.
Yeah.
Very into like that aesthetic.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like, look.
She's adamant about it. Apparently, she draws in her notebooks.
Yeah, her friends mentioned that. Yeah, she's always drawing. Like, what is it? Mummies, werewolves, whatever.
Yeah, the aforementioned zombies or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the mom is, of course, telling her no. So they all have to stay in during Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get our first look at Agatha, who is the grandmother of Halloweentown, or the Cromwells. The
Cromwells.
Yeah.
And she can only visit them once a year, specifically on Halloween.
Yeah.
So you see her coming off what looks like the magical school bus. I swear I got the magic school bus vibes from that. But she's dropped off at the in the neighborhood, and she meets up with the mom, and you can kind of feel like there's a love tension relationship between them.
Like you can tell they love each other, but they're also very distant. Like obviously something has happened.
Yeah, you can kind of feel something. But the kids, even though they see their grandma very rarely, they're so happy to see her. The grandma comes, she opens her magic bag. They don't know it's magic, but she pulls out all the Halloween decorations. She gives them costumes, and she's like the embodiment of Halloween for them.
Yeah. I guess we should mention too that at this point in the movie, we know that the grandma's a witch.
Oh yeah, she makes it very obvious.
Yeah, the bus stop just like plops down with the 90s CGI, and and then the bag is like a dog to her. It follows her everywhere, which will be kind of, I guess, important at the end of the movie, but not really. But it's basically like a pet to her. So it holds it can literally hold anything. So yeah, you see the bag holding candy, and she pulls out like Halloween costumes for them and presents, which was like just a giant skull thing, which was weird. It was like a wooden skull.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. Anyways.
And as the kids get ready to go to bed, the mom and the grandma have a conversation, right? Where the mom, she reveals that they're not normal. That she refers to her husband, or like even the grandma refers to her son-in-law, technically, that he was human.
Yeah.
So what does that make them if they refer to him as human?
I don't know. But she also made it very clear, because Agatha was about to tuck them into bed and read them a bedtime story.
Because they begged for it.
Yeah. The mom specifically stated, do not tell them about home. Your home. She says your home.
Your home specifically.
She's sworn off home, which, is kind of sad in a way, but we'll get to it.
Yeah. You can even see, like, it's something that they constantly fight about, because even the kids mention, like, Mom, can you not fight with Grandma this time?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that this is kind of a reoccurring argument between them. So when the grandma goes upstairs to read the kids their story, she pulls out a book about Halloweentown.
Yeah.
And it talks about a place where monsters and witches and warlocks can all live together peacefully in, like, this town where, they just go about their lives.
Yeah. And I think it's also kind of mentioned that, like, even though Dylan, he's a skeptic of the
He's
group.
Like the Shane of BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Yeah.
He's very logical. He's practical.
Yeah. He doesn't believe in magic at all, but even he wants to hear the stories and everything. Like, all of the kids are invested in it. But he even, like, I think he even said, like, too bad it's, like, make-believe. And he was, like, enforcing to, like, Sophie and Marnie. Was like, this is a fictional place. Like,
this isn't real.
Yeah. Like, he's so adamant about magic not being real. Anyways, the mom comes in right before she tells them about that they are actually witches.
Right.
And then
the mom gets really mad, takes her downstairs, and the mom, like, kind of, like, blatantly says, you turned your back on us. Like, you are a witch, and your daughters deserve to know that they are witches. Mm-hmm. Because she reveals that if Marnie, who is 13, does not practice magic before the night is over, she will lose her witch powers, which is exactly what the mom wants.
Mm-hmm. And the mom knows this too, so she's, like, waiting for it.
Yeah, because the mom herself is a witch, which is revealed. Actually, it's funny because Marnie is listening. She's eavesdropping in on this conversation.
And she sees them. I think she just thinks it's kind of like just a joke or whatever. But then until, like, they turn the leftover chicken into an actual chicken.
Right.
She's like, oh my God, it's real.
And then so the grandma leaves.
Yeah.
And what happens next?
They follow her. So, before that, Marnie goes up to Dylan's room, and she's like, oh my God, I have to follow Grandma. Like, I have to know where she's going and whatever.
I have to follow her. She's going back to Halloweentown. What she thinks is, like, that's where she's headed.
Yeah.
And so she changes, gets into adventure mode, and she even puts on the cloak costume that her grandma gave her, which was really cute.
Yeah. And her and Dylan go.
Her and Dylan get on the bus, the same bus that dropped the grandma off, and they sneak on, which honestly, like, in this day and age, they couldn't even sneak on it. Like, they just basically open the back door and hop on, thinking no one would suspect that.
I mean, I'm just thinking, like, don't they have, like, locking mechanisms on buses?
Yeah, they just open it. And then so, they're magically transported.
Dylan, up until this point right now, thinks it's still either a dream or that they're coming back from a Halloween party.
Right.
Because they're all, like, everybody on the bus is, like, a monster.
Frankenstein, werewolf, witches.
Vampires, like, everything, like, anything Halloween stereotype you can find.
So he definitely thinks it's, like, post Halloween party, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So finally they get dropped off and they get out and they realize that they're in Halloweentown from the book the grandma gave them.
Yeah. And I guess we should also say that Grandma doesn't know that they're there.
Oh yeah, because they snuck on.
Yeah.
And so finally, so the grandma leaves after saying hi to a friend, and then the kids, they're, like, in awe of this place. They're like, is this real? And then they realize that Sophie, the youngest sister,
had followed them. Yeah.
So now we have all 3 Cromwell grandchildren in Halloweentown.
Actually, let's backpedal a little bit, and we'll talk about the friend that Agatha, the grandma, talked to. Because we see that the friend that she talked to was, like, a close neighbor, and she was really, like, pleasant and nice and welcoming, and she offered the grandma muffins, which she was going to give to the headless shelter. Which will be kind of an important, I guess, like, foreshadowing moment for the later scenes to come. We know that Halloweentown, up until this point, is under some kind of darkness, but we don't specifically know what it is.
Yeah, and then they're right outside of the town hall, and this is where we're first introduced to someone named Calabar.
Yeah.
And this is my first time watching it, and even I got weird vibes from him.
He was like, Daddy.
No. If anything, like I had stranger danger feels. You know, he goes up to these little kids and he gives them candy and whatever, and I'm just like, dude, you're suspicious.
I know. I mean, I guess that was a different time where like not everybody was like super freaked out about like strangers giving them candy, especially on Halloween. I guess it makes sense.
Right.
But you know, whatever.
But, like, I can already feel like, you know, I had like my suspicions on him. I'm just like, okay, I'm keeping tabs on you, buddy.
So they tell them that they're looking for Agatha, and when they said that they were Cromwell's, that he immediately knew like who they were. They're like, he's like, oh, you're Gwen's children, and he's like, they're
Oh,
like,
where
yeah.
is your mom here?
Yeah. And they're
So he knows the family.
yeah, he knows them well, which we'll later soon to find out why.
So he calls a cab, and it's like this character. He's obviously for comic relief. He's the skeleton who drives a cab.
Benny the skeleton.
And so he cracks a lot of like bone puns, jokes, and whatever. So basically, he takes the kids to the
Agatha's
grandma's.
Before that, I want to talk about one tiny little detail that I missed as a kid, but there is an Illuminati frickin' sign on the door of the cab.
You pointed that out to me while we were watching.
It's crazy weird. I was like, oh my god, like when did that even happen?
That is so crazy. Like, you know, for, you know, our conspiracy theory side of ourselves, I was mind blown. It was a triangle, it had an eye in it, and it gave us Illuminati vibes. I didn't catch it, but when Austin caught it, he pointed it out, and I was like, jaw dropped.
Okay, wait, hold that thought, and then when we progress further in the story, I have something else to tell you. It's a conspiracy theory that I just made up, so it's kind of fun. It's kind of funny. Anyways, so he drops them off in front of the grandma's gates, but they find out that the gate is locked. And Marnie, knowing that she's a witch, wants to trap her powers.
She just like literally 10 minutes ago found out that she was a witch, and then she all of a sudden thinks like, oh, let me tap into these powers. Like, I think I know how to use them. So she's like saying abracadabra.
Hocus pocus.
And, you know, of course, I'm thinking Aloha Mora for you Harry Potter fans.
Oh my god.
And it's not working. And then as her and the brother argue, we see little Sophie
push the gates open.
Yeah.
And they're like, Sophie, how did you do that? It's like, I just pushed it open. And she's like, also, I asked the lock to turn into a frog.
And it leaves off of you seeing a frog. So you can see that her powers are very strong. If not, I think stronger than Marnie's.
Yeah, well, we'll learn why later, which is kind of like, I guess makes sense in a way. So the grandma senses the kids at the door, so she opens it and she's like, okay, well, obviously your mom doesn't know that you're here.
Yeah.
But
like, the kids are just so excited to see her, and she's brewing up a potion, and they're just happy to be there. And the grandma's house kind of gives off like, you know, very homey and comfortable vibes.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes. The house reminds me of, you know, Zeniba's house from Spirited Away.
Yes,
that's what it reminded me of. And I was like, even the grandma, she reminded me of Zeniba. I was just like, damn, man. Like, okay, so for any of you who didn't know, watch Miyazaki's Spirited Away.
Watch it.
It's great, but the house aesthetic looked exactly like it to me.
Yeah, very magical-esque.
I mean, I could even say like a little bit of Howl's Moving Castle in there too.
Yeah, yes. Dang.
Anyways, so we catch Agatha in the middle of brewing a potion.
Which is very important because she tells the kid that she has noticed that neighbors have been disappearing, but before that they've been, you know, acting strange. And then she has this witch's glass.
Yeah, the witch's glass.
Which kind of shows her that there is an evil that is going to consume Halloweentown. So she's doing her best to stop it. So she used this Merlin's talisman, and she tries to resurrect it, telling them that a witch's power is stronger when done together with other witches. Even though she herself is powerful, her magic is even more powerful when together. So that's why prior she even told the mom about the evil that was going on and tried to ask their mother for help, but the mom said that basically her home is the human world, and that she has like no obligation to Halloweentown anymore.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I kind of found interesting because this is the place she grew up. Even if you move somewhere, you have like an attachment to home.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting, the mom's reaction. So back to the grandma's house, the magic doesn't work.
We find out because it doesn't work because she used instant,
Yeah.
the box kind apparently. And she said that they usually work better when they're made from scratch.
So she tells the kids, okay, let's go to town and get the ingredients to make this from scratch.
Yeah, so the ingredients are hair of a werewolf, sweat of a ghost, and the tooth of a vampire. So that'll come in handy later.
So, as they get into town, one thing that I really picked up on was the kids were asking her, like, oh, so what is Halloweentown like? And, like, kind of asking her for more of, like, a history or, like, what is this, what is this place? And what really stood out to me was when the grandma said that prior, humans and all of them lived together.
Yeah.
And then there started to become, like, this fear, and humans, like, feared and, the magic and the monsters, so they tried to hurt us. That's what the grandma says. And Halloween, like the Halloweentown citizens, reacted.
They started to turn evil.
Yeah,
is what they
that's
said.
exactly what she said. And she said because they were trying to. It was kind of like, she doesn't say the word war, but it's humans against magic and which is like very typical of this times. Like if you think of like witch trials and all that stuff. She even said that Halloweentown had to tame the evil. They were being consumed by it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty deep.
So they in turn created Halloweentown.
Yeah. And I, again, like that was really interesting to me because they took some humanity, something that they learned from humans, like this town and citizen kind of thing. They took from humans to live in a town. So it kind of showed that to tame like the darkness, they needed some humanity.
Yeah. Okay. This is where I'm gonna put the conspiracy theory. So Grandma Agatha specifically said that the humans see, human do.
Yes.
Now remember going back to that Illuminati sign on the cab.
With the eye.
Yep. Just think about it. Us humans are speculating the Illuminati, and it's like obviously real, right? Or we think it's real. Or it's possible. We'll say it's possible. Now you think about it.
We don't want people to think you're crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to think people are getting crazy. Like don't worry, I'm not like a lizard person or anything like that. Anyways.
Or are you?
Well, maybe. But anyways, so that just proves that the humans took the Illuminati from Halloweentown.
So there's some kind of magic involved.
And so, right, because the Illuminati, right, they say that the Illuminati basically pumps out celebrities so that it has like a following or whatever. Like that's why we like the celebrities that we like. Now you wonder why. It's because we're under their spells.
Beyonce. She's using a spell on us. That's what making her voice so amazing.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Beyonce, I love you.
Yeah, we all love Beyonce.
Sing you and cuddle, kiss so.
Yeah, we do actually. That's a thing.
But that's crazy.
Yeah.
And the grandma even says that, like, the kids ask, oh, wow, like, what are they dressed up as? Like, looking at the citizens who are dressed up like fairies and monsters. And the grandma's like, oh, no, this is not dress up. This is how we are every day. The humans took our dressing up thing and made it a tradition of their own. So, I mean...
You think about it.
I see it. I'm seeing it.
Okay, now I'm just waiting for that little notification bar at the top of my phone going from the FBI says stay right there.
Stop talking right now. We have our laptop open, so I'll keep my eye out for that message.
Oh my god, I'm actually kind of scared because my phone just flashed a little bit. I was just like, oh my god.
I saw it. At first I was like, did you touch it? And I realized you didn't. I'm like, okay.
They're watching us. It's okay. Don't worry, FBI. We love you. We can join the Illuminati if we want.
I mean, come on, TFTI.
Yeah, come on. That's how we're going to get this podcast bigger, right?
Yeah. We want to put a spell on everyone to listen to our podcast.
Anyways.
So after they go to the town, the grandma and the kids run into the mayor. This is Calabar.
Yeah.
He's the mayor, and the grandma reveals to him her suspicions and thoughts on what's going on. She's telling him that there's an evil going around. People are missing, and we need to do something about it. So he tells her, okay, just give me 2 days and we can work on this. I'm super busy. But this is very important because the grandma told the kids that Halloweentown time and human time do not correlate.
Yeah.
It's not relative. So she said, she even uses this example. So, oh yeah, you guys can be here for 2 days and that would be mortal midnight.
She said 2 hours. 2 hours would be, oh yeah.
Yeah. So 2 days would equal like 2 hours.
Yeah, or 2 weeks if they're on vacation.
Yeah. I wonder how that works.
I know, seriously.
I wish we could extend our vacation time into like a small period window.
Just imagine though, like the amount of hours in Halloweentown though, like it must be like crazy. I mean, I guess like for them, like our time just moves really fast, but for us, their time really moves really slow.
Yeah.
It's all relative time. I also wrote down on my notes, it says, I put Calabar logic equals dark forces best to leave alone, question mark.
Yeah, that even made me suspicious.
Like, I was like, why would you tell, like the Cromwells are like the most powerful witches and you're just like, oh, just leave it alone, it's fine, don't worry about it. Like, no big deal, my friend just turned into an evil, hissing witch. Like, in front of my eyes, like 2 hours ago she was normal, now she's not.
And then as they're walking to town, the friend, like the grandma sees her all like, distorted and evil.
So basically Grandma Agatha bought Marnie a broom and they both took it for a test drive. And while they're in the air, Marnie was like, so how does magic work exactly? And then Grandma Agatha said, well, dear, whatever, you just have to think about it, like want it, and then it'll happen.
God, I wish like that would work in real life.
Mm-hmm. So that's why Sophie's powers were more stronger than Marnie's.
Because every time her magic happens, she's like, I want this. Yeah. I want this. And she just repeats it.
Because she even, I think it was even mentioned in the beginning of the movies, Sophie's temper tantrums is explains why she can knock books off the shelf or whatever. Because she wants to cause a ruckus. So it makes more sense why Marnie can't do her powers as effectively is because she doesn't necessarily want anything anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah. And then, so after this, when they get back to the ground, the mom comes in, noticing that the kids left the house. So she caught the bus to Halloweentown, and she flips.
Yeah, she
yells at the grandma. She scolds the kids. And it's funny because Marnie's like, no, I'm going to stay here with grandma and learn how to be a witch, whether you like it or not. And, it's just funny. She's standing up for herself. But the mom, she says, no, Marnie, you're grounded. And I laughed at this part because Marnie, who was so confident and no, mom, I'm going to do what I want, gets taken down by these two words. You're grounded.
Hey, man, that's a big thing. I mean, I don't know about you, but when my parents threatened to ground me, I was like, no, please don't.
I don't really think I ever got grounded. Because, not only was I a great child, but I think the first time I heard the term grounded was 4th grade, and I thought your parents buried you in the ground. That's what I thought it meant.
Oh my god. I just imagining you, you're
head. Your head's the only, the part that's showing, because your parents can't, kill you, right? Spare you alive. So, only your head's there, and it kind of like a vegetable, like a plant. I was like, is that what grounded is? That seems like a lot of work. I wouldn't want to be grounded in that aspect. But it just cracked me up. Maybe it's because I'm an adult now watching it. I just cracked up that the mom says that and Marnie's like, I'm defeated.
I know. It's so sad too because she realizes that her grandma probably can't even see her anymore, or it doesn't make sense for her grandma to come anymore because she's not a witch anymore.
Yeah, and for Marnie, it seems like she's so attached to her powers because that kind of explains who she is. She felt like there was a missing puzzle piece in her life, and this was it.
Yeah. So cut to the next scene. The mom and the family go to the next, I guess, the information desk.
Yeah.
And they try to see if they can get another bus to the mortal realm. But they realize that the bus is broken down, or so they say. It was really confusing, that conversation. There was a 2-headed monster involved. It was a long story.
Yeah, so long story short is that the bus is broken down. So she goes to the mayor of the town thinking, oh, he can help us. And so they go into the office, and the mom and the mayor, Calabar, see each other, and instantly you see Calabar's eyes light up.
Yeah, they apparently
low-key flirting.
Yeah, apparently they used to date, and I remember this one part. I don't know if it's that important or not, but she was like, but Marnie used it against her at one point. He's like, oh, you used to love when I used magic, and then so Marnie, as a rebuttal, she was like, so you like him when he uses magic, but you don't like it when I use magic.
Ooh, sassy girl, exactly. Yeah, mom, you like when he does it, his like flower trick. You know, I could learn how to do that too.
She's like, I'm not gonna call him dad, you know.
That is so like preteen. That is like this movie. It's like very much describes like what it was like to be a teenager at that age. Like not even like a preteen, you know. He, you know, low key flirt, whatever. But then he has to leave because he has some urgent matter to attend to. So they realize that they are stuck in Halloweentown for a little longer.
So they decide to. Oh, Marnie sees Grandma Agatha and Luke, which is I guess like a character introduced at some point.
Luke is like he's kind of like described to be the bad boy of the town.
Yeah, he's so apparently he's a troll or troll. And
I think so.
He apparently made a deal with the dark person or whatever.
I guess we can
like
say deal with the devil.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. And so apparently the deal with that is that like he got a nose job and a few warts removed.
Yeah.
In exchange
so he looks
like
a normal human kid.
Yeah. So in exchange for his apprenticeship, I guess for
him to do his dirty work, basically.
So we see that Grandma Agatha and Luke are going together because Luke had mentioned to Grandma Agatha like, hey, like,
I know who this evil guy is that you're talking about. I can take you to him.
And he wants to meet you anyways, blah, blah, blah.
So, I mean, I already smell a trap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Marnie sees the grandma leaving, so they all follow the grandma.
Yeah. Well, they sneak to, like, catch grandma, I guess, before, like, they get captured and whatever. And then she gets taken into this theater.
A theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where the 90s CGI comes out again.
Yeah. Oh, God, it was cringy. Oh, my God. So they get into the theater and, like, you see the stage and then you see that there are some people sitting in the seat and apparently that's the grandma's missing friends / neighbors and they have cobwebs on them. So they've been there for a while.
Yeah.
And then you see the grandma's friend that was shown in the beginning. The one who was nice, made the cupcake or whatever goodies for the headless people.
Yeah.
And you see her there and she's like frozen. And then so the grandma goes up to the stage and there's like a little portal kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a tornado looking thing.
Yeah. And out of it comes the evil thing that showed in the witch's glass. And God, the CGI was cringy. Like I had to laugh because it's just a lot of wind blowing and cloaks like flying in the air. Oh God, it was cringy.
I wrote down he looked like a Voldemort ripoff.
A green Voldemort.
Yeah, that's
mixed with that one movie. What's that one movie that there's the guy with the green mask and
The Mask?
I think.
But with Jim Carrey.
Yes. He looked like a cheaper version of that mixed with Voldemort's cloak.
I also wrote down he looked like Zordon from Power Rangers.
Oh my God.
That's like a zombie Zordon is like what I thought he looked like to me. But anyways, he comes out and he's just like, I know you have Merlin's, what is it,
Merlin's talisman.
Merlin's talisman, give it to me.
Yeah, and he's just like in like, give me the talisman voice.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just so like evil.
This is definitely like 90s, like bad guy.
Yes, like it was too much for me. So you see the grandma, like she's like, no, you're gonna have to like take it from me.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm gonna take you down. And the evil guy is like, well, you have stuff to lose. Like, so this cue in like grandchildren running in and the mom also runs in and she tells the kids, stay back. Like, so she goes with the mom.
Yeah, she tries to like kill him basically.
Yeah. But the evil guy reveals that he can freeze people. Like he doesn't kill them. He just stops time on them.
Yeah.
So he's shooting the grandma, trying to take her down, probably because she's one of the biggest threats that can take him down. So he's trying to shoot at her, and then it's funny because before this you see the mom trying to cast a spell.
Oh yeah, on Luke.
Yeah.
So I guess like Luke was trying to like escape pretty much because he didn't. You'll find out later why he doesn't like support what the guy was doing. But basically, long story short, he didn't want Agatha to get hurt. Yeah, but because of the whole like shooting thing, he's like, I didn't sign up for this. I'm out of here.
And the mom's like,
she cast a spell on him, and it was supposed to say her powers, but instead it just said flowers. Yeah, and so like flowers just like sprouted
immobilize
all over
him.
Yeah, and then he's just like, ew, what?
And then so she gets closer.
Yeah.
basically like they're trying to fight him, but then he tries to shoot at the grandma,
Yeah.
and the mom pushes her out of the way and ends up becoming frozen.
Yeah.
And then after that, like basically the grandma gets frozen as well, and the kids are like, oh no, we need to get them in. But the logical brother Dylan, he's like, we can't save them if we can't save ourselves.
Yeah.
Very smart for, you know, the younger brother.
Yeah.
And then so they
the grandma basically right before she froze completely was like, Marnie, we'll be okay, just get the talisman, and whatever, we'll be fine, don't worry about us, blah blah blah.
So they escape, and
they figure out that they have to get the 3 ingredients to finish the potion in order to complete the spell. So this is like kind of like a cut scene, like a beeline story, where it's like they have to capture like all of the...
It's kind of like a obstacle.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, oh, I have to complete step 1, then step 2, then step 3. Like, you know, kind of like character development. But it's funny because, you know, the first thing they get is the werewolf hair.
Yeah.
And they just like go to a barber, trim it off his head, and then they go to get the
sweat from the ghost.
Go sweat from the ghost. And I thought that was funny because I didn't even know ghosts could sweat. Like, the fact that they made ghosts being able to sweat, I thought that was super interesting. Then after that, they get the vampire's tooth. And this part kind of like is relatable because, you know, she's at a dentist place and, you know, she's like kicking and screaming. And she's like, ow, ow. And then he pulls out her tooth and Marnie like pretends to be the assistant and grabs it. So they have basically all the ingredients, and then they head back to grandma's house. And it's funny because like they need to brew the potion, right?
Yeah.
But they don't, and then they make the potion and they have a talisman.
Yeah.
But they don't know the spell, or Marnie doesn't remember the spell.
Yeah. So basically, we find out that Sophie remembered the spell because she thought it was pretty sounding, so she turned it into a song.
And she just repeats it. And so Marnie tries to do it, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, Sophie, we need to do it together because you're a witch, I'm a witch. And Grandma said it's done together, like it's more powerful together.
She also said if you want, like she also told like all the other siblings, because at the time when she was first told it, she was in the air with Grandma, but she tells everybody else, it's like, hey, like if we want it, then we'll get it. So they both focus their energy, they do the incantation again, and then it lights up.
And it works.
Yeah. So they head to the town hall. No, they head to the theater, and they try to like reanimate the grandparents and the mom. They find out that it doesn't work because again, the humans see, humans do.
So these kids, it's funny because I would not have put it together, but like the critical thinking of these kids figured it out. So basically the kids discovered that they have to put the talisman, which looks like a candle, into the
giant pumpkin.
Yeah, with the giant pumpkin in the center of the town.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is kind of like a symbol of Halloweentown. And so it's giant. So she's like, humans see, human do. So they got to go put it in the pumpkin, and then it should work. So as Marnie goes to do this, Luke, the bad boy of the town, he comes and he's like, oh, you know, I didn't mean to get anyone hurt. I don't want to hurt anyone. And, you know, let me help you. And it's so funny. I remember this scene specifically because Marnie's like, no, you twerp. And I'm like, twerp? I have not heard that in like a decade, you know?
I don't remember even hearing that in like a TV show other than this.
What? I remember that was like an insult, like, you know,
Maybe
that
like,
was...
I guess like a Rugrats thing.
No, I've heard it in real life.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard it in real life.
Like a twerp.
Never.
Like, I remember that being like the insult.
I know it was a thing. I just never heard it actually being used as an insult.
Maybe it's because we were on Hawaii. Like, I mean, I only heard it like a little bit, but it stuck in my mind because I was like, twerp. And, you know, we saw it in like, I don't know, like shows or whatever, but was it something popular on the mainland?
Maybe.
Okay, for those of you who live on continental U.S., let us know.
Yeah.
Like, was the word twerp a thing for you guys?
But anyways, so...
Cutting back to the movie.
We see the evil forces come out from the CGI tornado, and it's
it's coming like onto the town hall, and he's like, he's like, citizens of Halloweentown, it's time for us to
Take back our land, blah, blah, blah.
And it's so dramatic because he's still doing like when you're at a car dealership, those air inflatable things. That's exactly what he looks like. He's just moving like that.
I was gonna say he looks like a symphony conductor, but like that also works too. It's like probably a mix of both.
And you guys can't see this, but I was like doing the airman thing, like that inflatable thing, and it feels exactly like what he did.
Yeah.
So he's like, so he's like telling the citizens of Halloweentown, let's go do this, and you can kind of see they're hesitant.
They're hesitant, but they're also kind of agreeing with him.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we've been like oppressed, and like, why should we like have our land taken by humans?
So the evil entity, he's like, but before we can do that, we must stop the Cromwell grandchildren. They're here and they're trying to take us down. And so
he sees in the crowd, he's like, come out here, Marnie Piper, and then he sees like this little Red Riding Hood cloak running through the crowd. He's like, there you are, Cromwell.
I'm going to get you. So he comes down from the town hall thing and he grabs her, quote unquote,
and it starts shooting her with like that light up thing.
And then you see as he uncloaks her, it's actually Luke.
Dun dun dun.
Because he said he wanted to help Marnie, and so this was their plan. And then Marnie's so close to the pumpkin, and she's just about to put the light in, but she gets frozen.
Yeah. And
shot,
And then we cut to this whole like sentimental scene where it's like, oh, I wanted to be a witch, blah, blah, blah. No, you can't be a witch from the mom. And then, oh, you're a witch from grandma, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if you want it, you can do it, and blah, blah, blah.
And because she wanted it, she was able to unfreeze herself for like a second and put the light, or drop the talisman, and it just so happened to fall perfectly into the slot that would power the pumpkin, I guess. And it was so cringy. Oh, God.
And then, like, it just, like, shoots out this beam of light that just, like, pushes, like, Calabar back. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert, it turns out to be Calabar.
It's revealed that, yes, it is Calabar.
Yeah.
He reveals himself right before he shoots Luke.
Yeah. It's kind of like a plot twist already coming.
And in the I totally called it from the very second I saw him. Like, he was just a shady character, and I was not surprised, to be honest.
Anyways, also, I want to point out, did it say why, like, he was, like, afraid of the light exact? Because, like, I understand the darkness before he was revealed as Calabar, like, why he could be afraid of the light because he's darkness, right? But why is Calabar afraid of the light at that point? Because
like, the sunlight hurt him when the kids were escaping. I don't know. I think maybe because he wasn't powered up enough. I don't know. Like, because I think that's a plot hole.
Yeah, because, like, right, he's, like, exposed as, like, Calabar himself in the sunlight, and he's just walking around.
But Calabar, like, before this, was walking around in the sun.
Yeah.
But maybe it was when he transformed into the green thing, when he got...
I know why. Because there was a hidden CGI moment that we both just like went right over our heads. It's like right when he was coming onto the town hall, there was like gray clouds just like rolling over everything. So I guess, but the lighting never changed. So like we never knew that there was darkness in the town to begin with. Like you'd have to kind of pick up on that to figure that out.
So basically, when the talisman goes into the pumpkin, everyone's restored. Like all the frozen people, so the grandma and the mom meet up with the kids outside.
And then the mom's like, I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. And then it turns out, oops, Calabar's not dead yet.
He's not dead. He's not taken out. He has the talisman in hand.
He like does this like Wingardium Leviosa thing. And then he like captures the talisman from inside the pumpkin. He's like,
Accios it, Harry Potter, come on. So he has it and he's like, with this, I'm going to take over everything.
She's like doing the wacky, like flailing arms
I feel
thing.
like I have to when I talk about him because it's just so cringy. And then you see the grandma, she steps up and she's like, no, I'm not going to allow that. And then so she was going to try and do it herself. And then you see the mom coming to back her up. So they try to cast a spell, but it's not powerful enough. And Calabar laughs at them and he's like, you Cromwells can't defeat me now. And then you see Marnie has a moment, like another sentimental moment. She's like, no, we need to do this together. And it's funny because you would think only witches were the girls, like who had the powers, but the brother Dylan he's having like some static shocks come out of his fingertips. So, and he refuses to believe it because he's very logical, and so Marnie's like, no, we're all Cromwells. We can do this together. We all have magic. So, long story short, like, the family, they all hold hands and they're able to take down Calabar.
I have like several reasons why I don't like this last scene. Like, okay, so first of all, when Grandma Agatha and Mom both step up to like try to fight Calabar, they start speaking in parcel tongue. Which is like the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And then all of a sudden, like when the kids join in, they don't have to speak parcel tongue anymore.
They're just all just believing.
Yeah, they're like humming and believing, like, I believe
I can fly.
That's my first plot hole. Like, I was like, what? And then the second thing is like, they're literally standing there for, I would say like the movie is like, what, 2 minutes? I'm like thinking it's probably like 5 minutes there.
Yeah, like if this was real battle.
Like Calabar would have like zapped all of them out.
Zapped their...
Literally, he was just taunting them the entire time.
And he's just standing there. It's like as if he's waiting to get taken down. But like you just see the family holding hands and they're vulnerable. There's no force field or protection shield like around them. You would think they would cover that base, but they didn't. So Calabar's just evilly laughing, looking at the talisman, blowing in the wind.
I'm just... I just don't understand like why he didn't just zap them away. Like he could have like Accio them too. Like
he could have, and like if this was not a decom movie, they would have been dead.
Yeah, they definitely would have been dead. Like, I'm sorry, like Cromwells, you might be the most powerful witches in the movie, but maybe it's because all the other witches just suck.
Yeah, and I mean like the fact that you guys like you guys were vulnerable and you guys could have been taken down so easily, like whatever. But so basically, with them believing, they were able to take down Calabar, and Halloweentown is safe again.
He gets sucked into the talisman.
Yes.
Which is kind of important for the second movie, which we'll explain later. Yeah. So
basically, they all cheer in the town, and the grandma says, Marnie, I would love to continue your training, and the mom is like, no. Because I'm going to take over her training. So you see the mom finally comes around and she realizes that the magic is part of the kids, of who they are.
Mm-hmm. So I think the deal was that like the grandma will come to live with them.
Yeah, because the kids begged to like, Grandma, can you come see us? And she's like, I'm sorry, kids, but I can only come once a year on Halloween. And the mom is like, actually, I need a babysitter on Thursdays. Mm-hmm. And the mom is like, daughter, like I just said I can't. I can only come once a year. And the mom was like, well, I guess that means you just have to live with us.
I know. She's like so coy about that. I would like to say that like I actually like the mom in this movie. Like she's stern and strict, but she's also like very like nice. Yeah. Like she cares about them a lot.
Yeah, you think like she's thinking she's doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. But let's conclude the movie first.
Yeah.
So the movie ends with all of them getting back onto the bus to head home.
Yep, and then the credits roll as they like zip into the sky.
So, yeah, that's the end of Halloweentown. Yeah. Actually, I want to also point out that the grandma's bag, we never really got into detail about it, but it was just a simple, like literally grandma bag from the 90s. I swear to God. It gave me Hermione vibes because remember in the movie and the books, Hermione enchants a bag where, it looks like, a small pouch, but it is charmed to expand.
Right.
So I like when I saw that bag, I was like, oh God, that's Hermione right there.
Maybe Agatha is Hermione in like several hundred years.
No, that can't be because Agatha is old in 1998 and the movie of Harry Potter concludes on 1995.
But Hermione has a time turner.
Maybe. No, but Hermione is a muggle. A muggle.
Mug-blood.
Mug-blood.
She's still a witch.
We just kind of swore on podcast. Mug-blood's not a good word.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. She's born from muggles.
Yes, correct term. Everyone remember he was Slytherin before. And I used the nice term muggle because I was a Gryffindor and I'm still a Hufflepuff.
Okay, muggle and mug beep. are two different things, okay? Like, don't get them mixed up.
Oh, you're right.
So, you know what? I'm actually politically correct here.
He's politically correct, but he's still insulting her, and I will not have that against my Hermione.
You know what? We'll talk about that in another movie.
Moving on. So, okay, first time watching that, like as an adult, like I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of like thought it was cringy, but you know, thinking of it as like watching it, you know, in 2005 when I was 10 or whatever, you know, I kind of see it. It does have like Halloween vibes. So, you know, let's go on to the questions actually,
Right.
so that we can kind of get into this. So, our first question is, was it a good Halloween movie?
I think for like what you said, like as children, it was really good. Like I remember growing up, and I remember okay, like obviously Halloweentown's gonna be playing, so it's all G. Like it was like the epitome of like Halloween movies for Disney Channel. Like that was like their money making machine. Like, but I don't know. Like I would say like it's a nice like Hallmark movie.
Okay, yes, exactly. It's a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
It's like I said in the beginning, a cult classic. Like every Halloween, I feel like they do play this. I don't know if they still do it to this day. If they do, that's amazing.
I know, that'd be really, I mean, I feel like teens wouldn't care at this, or like small little kitty boppers won't care anymore.
Because the graphics aren't that great.
Yeah, they're gonna be making fun of that. But I'd say it's a good Halloween movie. I think it's good for children. Maybe not for adults.
I can see it playing, you know, while, you know, like after the kids are done trick-or-treating and kind of like, or even before Halloween to kind of put them on the vibe. I can see a family sitting around with TV watching this. But what's good is like it does have that childhood nostalgia that kind of wants like you to watch it every year.
Yeah, it has that little kick of nostalgia to it. Did you think it was a good movie though?
Okay, first time watching it, I think I rated it a 6 out of 10. I think only because like poor graphics disturb me. But I mean, it does follow that classic Disney trope of, you know, innocence and believing and like very typical storyline. Yeah. But with the Halloween feel. And I think it did its job though. It wasn't scary or anything. But the fact that there was a Halloween town, literally, where there was monsters and ghouls and ghosts and everything, it kind of had a fun, like almost like comedy aspect to it. So I would say it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good answer. So I guess the next question kind of leading into that was, does the movie hold up in today's Halloween culture?
I don't think it would do well. I mean, it's basically the same idea of trick-or-treating and everything, but in my opinion, if this was to play now, I don't think it would do too well.
Would you say, like, if they did a remake of the movie, like,
if they did a remake, actually, I could find it being, like, kind of interesting. But what do you think?
I think, I don't know. I mean, I just know, like, I grew up watching these kind of movies. I mean, it was relevant to the time.
We grew up with it. And, like, you know, like, a lot of the DComs like this kind of had, like, that same, like, trope and, like, feel.
Yeah.
But
I think as millennial parents, though, I feel like they're going to force their kids to watch it.
Oh,
because we as millennials
nostalgia.
Want to watch it. Yeah. So, like, they're going to force their kids to watch it.
This movie will live on.
So, I mean, it may not technically hold up on its own as part of Halloween culture, but because of the nostalgia factor, it could definitely hold up.
That is very true, because even though, like, this is my first time watching it, like, there are movies that are like this that I would force my imaginary children to watch.
Yeah. I'm sure my sister is forcing my niece to watch it, like, as soon as she learns how to speak.
And what's nice is it does have, like, a very comfortable feel to it. Like, even though it's, like, a Halloween movie, it has an overall comfortable tone, you know?
Like, if you're not into horror, like, particularly, you're not, like, into getting scared, but you want to have Halloween nostalgia.
And you want to, like, kind of put your kids, like, in the mood.
Yeah, like, this is a good movie to watch.
Thinking of it like that, how to, like, bring out the Halloween spirit for your kids, this is it, because it is, like, a happy medium where kids would love it and adults can find it cute. Yeah.
So I guess the next question, I guess it only really applies to me because like, do you still like it? Because I was the only one who watched it as a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess now, not really. I only watch it for the nostalgia factor. I don't particularly turn it on. Like, I think the last time I technically watched this, like, voluntarily was, like, 10th grade. And that was just because, like, that was the only thing on TV. Like, I
But
think...
you wouldn't, like, go out of your way to watch this if it wasn't Halloween.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. Like, it wouldn't make sense.
But do you still like it?
I guess so, yeah. Like, I like it because, like, I like the story. It was a very simple story, and, like, it's not scary, so that's good. Like, it's good for, like, good family fun.
So that's the final question. And as of, like I said in the throughout this podcast, first time watching it, it wasn't bad, and it did have a cuteness to it, and oh god, like even now watching it right now, it brings like a nostalgia back to you know, the 90s or even the early thousands.
Like, even if you never watched the movie before, you could still very much feel, like, the tone of, like, I guess, like, the 90s vibes and the 2000s
Oh, yeah.
vibes.
Like, the mom jeans she wore.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, it's back now. Like, so when they say 90s trends are very much coming back, they are.
Yeah, it's a very big thing. I think not only the trends help it, but I think the whole, like, aesthetic of the movie, I guess, like, the way it feels to us, like, it's different too, because, like, now, like, I notice, like, a lot of, like, teen movies and, like, or, like, even, like, kids shows and whatever, they're very fast-paced, but this one feels very, like, kind of slower.
And I would call this movie simple.
Yeah, it's very simple.
There was really no, I don't know, like, danger, difficulty, like...
Yeah,
it
no giant climax.
Yeah.
But I will say, because of that, they opened up a lot of plot holes, which we've definitely, like, called out a few of them on there.
But, I mean, again, it's
a kid's movie.
It's
like,
a kid's movie.
I mean, I didn't question it as a kid. I'm sure no other kid will ever question it. Like, it's a straightforward plot, but there was just a bunch of plot holes that, like, you notice as an adult, but you just don't really notice as a kid.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
But I feel like it's a lot of decom movies, kind of.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think it's all about the magic.
Yeah, magic and the spirit of Halloween. So, you know, I guess the moral technically of the story is to, like, I guess one is to, like, follow what you believe in. Like, get what you want, and you'll get it. Or believe what you want, and you'll get it. And then the second thing is, like, I mean, for me, what I realized is that, like, you can't just, like, disown your family traditions. This is for the mom.
Yes. Like, she tried to give up her whole identity to kind of be something that she wasn't.
Yeah.
Because even though she lived in the moral world for so long, she was still a witch.
Yeah. And I think, like, I still have, like, my biggest gripe with the mom right now is that, like, she was, like, forcing her daughter to become immortal.
Didn't even ask, like, she's told this to mom. Marnie was born into a human world, and a human is what she will be.
Yeah. Like, I get it, you know what I mean? Like, if she never found out, she'll never know. But, like...
I feel like that would have been an injustice to her, because she would have felt that she was forever missing this piece inside of her. Because even though she was 13, she was very self-aware that she was different.
Did they ever explain why they couldn't go out on Halloween, though?
I think it's maybe because the
mom just suppresses it.
Yeah, didn't want them to get any ideas. And maybe because it was a tradition that humans took from Halloweentown. She didn't want any ideas getting in their head or getting familiar, or like okay with seeing, I don't know, like dressed up people.
I guess.
I don't know. I think it's just the mom just wanted to suppress the magic, and by suppressing Halloween, which, you know, is basically what Halloweentown is, Halloweentown, you know, she just wants to steer very clear away from anything tradition.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like, I thought it was like some kind of like witching, like it's like no witches are allowed on Halloween, otherwise you're dead or something.
You know, talking about that, let's go back to the irony, or like the Disney really took advantage of this, that it was on Marnie's 13th birthday.
Was that specific? Did they say it was Marnie's birthday? I thought it was just like her 13th year.
I feel like that was, or not, sorry, not her birthday, but her 13th Halloween.
Yeah.
And it's funny because isn't 13
the unlucky number?
Yeah.
Yeah. But they use that as a lucky number.
And so like they say, oh, 13th Halloween, blah, blah, she'd lose her magic. And so like aspect, like or like the what's interesting to me.
Yeah. It's also said that Marnie's supposed to technically be like already like completing her training at
Oh
13.
yeah, by the her training's supposed to be done, but then she's just starting to be trained.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
I mean, it's an iconic movie from our millennial childhood,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's left its impression on so many people.
Yeah.
And even though it was the quality it was, it's in the hearts of a lot of children who are now adults.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it did its job. And, why don't you, like, our podcast listeners, why don't you tell us what you thought about the movie?
Yeah.
Did you guys like it? Did you even watch it?
Mm-hmm.
And let us know how you guys felt about it.
Yeah. It'd be really interesting to hear about this too.
Yeah, especially now, watching it as, like the teenager or young adult that you are, or even adult that you are.
Yeah.
How does it feel to watch it again, like in this day and at this age?
Yeah. Like, how does it compare to your standards now?
Yeah. Does it still feel magical? And for those of you who have kids, is this something your kids are watching?
Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like that's an interesting, because we're approaching the age. Oh my God, we're approaching that age where we're like parents already.
But I don't think we're going to be parents for a long time.
It's okay.
But
It's okay.
For those of you who do have kids, let us know. I know we asked you guys a lot of questions just now, but
Answer at least one of them.
feel free to leave a comment. And yeah, share your story. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So I guess that wraps up the episode for today. Remember, this entire month we're going to be doing movie reviews, and then on Halloween
we have a special for you guys. So stay tuned. Like, subscribe.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
You guys will be looking forward to this special.
Oh my God, let's just say it's double trouble next week.
Ooh, that's a good hint.
Okay, anyways, bye guys.
Bye. To Be or Not to Be was directed, produced, and hosted by Michelle Felipe and Austin Chen. Special thanks to our friend Simon for letting us use his office. Music by Joakim, Karud, and you can find him on SoundCloud, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, and iTunes. Licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 Unported Share Alike license.
You can find us at To Be or Not to Be, one word, on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure to subscribe and like us on YouTube and SoundCloud.